Hello, good evening, and welcome to Umbral Equinox, Twilight, Lufenia, against the Sergeant Imps. These guys are also known as the Sephiroth, or Prompto Imps, and I think a lot of people have quite bad memories of them from the notorious Sephiroth heretic, which fortunately I didn't have to do because I wasn't playing the game at the time, so it's my first time tussling with these particular customers. I've brought a team here of Galuf, Trey, and Queen. So you can see I'm going quite hard into off-turn damage. And I think most people did that for this event. And there's a very good reason why. Primarily that their orb ticks up on their turn, rather than anything you can do to them. So they have to get turns. It goes up by 5 to a maximum of 10. So it's not too hard to manage if you're not going crazy with the layers and turn stealers. Except I have noticed they have two roles, attacker and supporter, and they switch between them every 10 of your turns, I believe. And sometimes it seems as though when they switch roles, they delay themselves, which can be very nasty for the orb. You can completely mess yourself up with that. And I think the only way to save yourself is with some weird summon turn hijinks. Now, on their turns, the supporter will put buffs on, including some shields, and the attacker will attack. It's pretty much all single target attacks as well. So, as you can see, Galuf can counter all of them. Although it does lead to a bit of a health disparity, so you can see I'm going past that threshold with one at 79% and one at 87 or 86. Now the threshold cleanses all buffs, and it also puts a red aura on one of them. Now the red aura means they only take 1 damage from everything, and I believe there's a big brave gain as well. But fortunately we've got Trey with Fatal Arrow, who can break no matter how much bravery he gains. And at the end of the aura, which is as soon as he gets a turn, he'll be using a skill called Calamity Bomber, which is a AoE HP attack. Did nothing there because it missed 2 of them, and he didn't have his plus version, or particularly high bravery when he started, and he had a sap on him. But there is a very, very nasty plus version, which, as far as I can tell, couldn't quite work it out, but I think if the one with the red aura has a shield up, it'll use the plus version. And what that does is, well, a lot more damage, but it also dispels all of your buffs. And, you know, that's as bad as dying for some characters. If you're losing your LD buffs at awkward times, or if you've just put them up, you know, that can throw off the whole fight. Now, I'm staggering my debuffs. For the first phase, because there's effectively 3 different debuff phases in terms of when they cleanse. So for 100 to 80, I had just Seifer up for some defense down. They don't have very high bravery reductions, but they do have very high defense, so you'll want some defense down for this. So I brought Seifer for his lovely foul. And now I'm gonna, I think I put up the other Seifer and one of the Kurasames. So they're gonna take quite a lot of damage at this point. The other lovely thing about this team is everyone on it batteries the party. And off-turn loves battery. Lets you do some really silly things. Quite sickening. You know, you can do upwards of 400,000 on enemy turns. And, you know, Trey doesn't hit particularly weakly on his own turns as well. In all honesty, I found this fight pretty simple. I did a run of it with Leon as well, which was very fun. It was this exact same team, but instead of Galuf, I had Leon. So it was less awkward trying to manage the particular health disparity between, you know, the attacker and the supporter, because they would both get hit equally. Fortunately, Queen is helping out with that quite a lot with her Ballestra lunges. Just getting those in before the orb comes back. But Leon was fantastic for this, you know, he trivializes pretty much everything in the fight. The reason I did another run is because I was worried he might get banned if we get a TCC challenge for this. Just thinking in terms of Arciella, she was banned in Meridian. And it wasn't because she was perfect for it. You know, the Mariliths in that fight did in fact totally resist HP silence. So she didn't get through the recasts, but she was very good at dealing with the dispels that you needed for that fight while being on a banner. So I feel that because Leon is on a banner and is very good at dealing with this fight, he might, yeah, he might not survive the cull. also did do a stomp run of this, bringing, what was it, Varden? It's not a character. Varn, Setzer, and probably Leon. That sounds right. I think I was trying to use Setzer to maximize Leon's damage, which is a lot of fun. And these guys just melted to that. But also compared to Aurora, the turn counts for Umbral feel a lot more lenient. You know, for some of those Aurora fights, had to push really, really quite hard to make turn count with a TCC X-Treme team, but you know, with this, it was absolutely cake. And I think the big difference is they don't mess with you too much. There's not quite as many mechanics you have to deal with. I mean, we're about to reach the next threshold, but I've got more debuffs to put back on. It's not going to be very difficult. And Trey's getting his turn right now. So, oh wait, there isn't another threshold. That was at 50. I was talking and I missed it. Oh well. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is there's like no Type 0 piano music. I don't know if people just don't like that game or musicians don't like that game, but this is literally the only track I could find for Type 0, and I brought 2 Type 0 characters, which is why this is a bad comp. So, if I ever run Type 0 again, you're going to have to listen to this track quite a lot. Yeah, just pulled my summon phase. Not because I really needed it, but because I felt I ought to for the sake of turn count. It felt rude not to summon. But in all honesty, it's probably lower damage than just letting them get the turns. The other quite nice thing with using Queen on an off-turn style team is you feel a lot better about pressing Devastate. Because, oh, I'm going to have to press it here. Well, I don't have to, but I choose to press it here. And it does a lot of damage. And it's just nice to see. Most of the time I want to press Balestra Lunge. It's just a very, very good skill. I did try to do a clear of this team, of this stage rather, with, was it Golbez, Seven, and Ash, I think? But it became very, very awkward when I got to the Calamity Bombers. I kept getting the plus, so I could probably go back and give it another try, but I just didn't bother. Anyway, that's about wrapping up this fight. Just a couple more counters to go, and they'll be dead in the water. So I will catch you on the next fight, which is, what are they calling them? Dusk, against the Erode Mantises from Arciella. And that's an even less interesting fight than this, because you can absolutely bully them. But you'll have to wait till tomorrow for that. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow.